Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to another episode of Glass Half Full, a podcast and a safe platform where we talk with a variety of teachers, entrepreneurs, spiritualists, uplifters, givers, shakers, and serenaders. Everyone has a lesson to learn and a lesson to share. Let's use our life experiences to enrich someone's heart, mind, spirit, and soul. Through sharing our experiences, we can be a learning inspiration for one another. I'm your host, Chris Levens. Let's welcome today's guest. Today's guest is Yan Huang. Yan Huang, the pivotal healer, is a Singaporean young adult cancer survivor living cancer-free for the last 15 years. She is a certified woman's integrative health coach, movement teacher, and energy healing practitioner. She empowers female cancer survivors above 30 to cultivate her healthy resilience, immunity, and self-love to flow more in her rest, digest, manifest state. As a multi-hyphenated, ever-evolving human being, 4-6 quad right manifesting generator, she has experienced numerous spiritual awakenings and continues to embrace that as part of her self-love soul journey. Let's give a warm welcome to Yan Huang. Good afternoon. How
Hi,
are you
Chris.
today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How are you, Chris?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for taking some time out to be a guest here on Glass Half Full. We are so happy to have you today.
My pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure, my honor. Yeah.
Can you tell everyone where
Exactly.
you are in the world and what time it is?
Yes, so right now I'm right here in Singapore. I live by the beach, so it's right now just about 7 minutes past noon here in Singapore.
Oh, nice. Excellent, excellent. All right, well, we're going to jump right in. I like to ask all my guests this first question. I believe that our lives are in spiritual design. Can you share your life layout or blueprint with everyone? How you grew up, your family lifestyle?
Sure, certainly more than happy to do so. Wow, very few. I don't remember the number of times people ask me this question, so I love this question. So my life, it's like I kind of see my life as really like an experiment. It's like it's like a show. I live in a multi-generational household, 3-generational household. I still do. So it's always like there's always like like the grandparents, then the parents, then the adults and the kids. So now, my grandparents has passed away, and then my parents became the grandparents. I'm now in the adult section, and then, my nieces, they are like the kids section. So I've always been like that. I think it's very typical of the old school or traditional Asian culture in Singapore. Yeah. So my own family is a nuclear family of 4. However, I grew up with all my cousins. So like during the early days, it's always my grandparents taking care of all kids, all her her grandchildren. So I always feel like I am not raised in a small family because I'm always up, with I call it the other boys because I'm like the only girl in my generation. So I always feel like I live in a very I always live in a very like a large extended family, and it's always been. So yeah, and then like any typical Singaporean, you go to school, you get your basic education, then you go into pre-college, and then you go into university, and and then I had cancer actually when I was 23. So sort of like just after graduation, I found out I had cancer. So that sort of changed my life in terms of the direction, the trajectory of my life, whether it's in terms of career or personal life. It definitely changed a lot of that. Yeah. So that's kind of like my life layout. Some ways my mom says that, you're like a dog trying to find your own tail. And in a way, it's kind of like, I look at it like, that's kind of like, I don't know, the way I look at it, my life is sort of, zigzagging a bit, but somehow or other, it always goes back to where it meant to be, the path. So it's been quite a journey. It's always been, that's why, when you introduced me, I was like, that's really my life, my ever evolving, journey.
We love
Yeah.
that. We love that. Well, life is a journey. So we
Mm.
want to feel that we are on, and we want to try to be on the right path of that journey. And if not, to get back on the path that we are supposed to be on, that it leads
Yeah,
us back.
exactly. Exactly. Sometimes the more you try to get on your path, it's not gonna happen. And then when you just sort of, surrender, sometimes, you just go back to where you're supposed to be, so to speak. I mean, that's why they say, right, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. No
So
point even
true.
forcing it. So yeah.
No, you're right about that. And it's you hit one of the key words, surrender. When we just
Mm.
let go and stop trying to do ourselves and let the energy or whatever we're calling it lead us to where we're supposed to be. And then we can
Yeah.
be where we want to. So yeah, that's the key, just to let go. To let go.
Mm-hmm. 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 Totally.
I
Yes.
love that. And so I love the work that you're doing now with helping other women. How did you get on this path?
Right, right. So it really came as an accidental thing, like I've never set out to be an entrepreneur in this space. I've never set out to be, working with women cancer survivors or want to work with women cancer survivors. I've never set out to, even want to be a cancer survivor as well. So that's really life. It's funny. So I grew up with a couple of I call it childhood molasses that basically prevented me living a full childhood life in terms of activity. Like I can't, like if I start to sweat or I start to exert a bit more more of my energy, I would get really sick.
Oh,
So
wow.
growing up I always felt like, like I always look at my other classmates or other schoolmates, like I wish I could run around and not cough. I wish I could run around and not get skin allergies and all that stuff. So
Oh,
yeah, but fortunately, my mom took care of me by bringing me to a traditional Chinese physician. So through many years of care, I got really much better. Out until like around 13 to 18 years old, I really got really strong in terms of my lung immunity.
wow.
And then around age 18, that's when I discovered the joy of movement. Like I just randomly enrolled myself in some dance classes, fitness classes. I started walking and hiking, and
Wow.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like I feel that I mean, now that I look back, that could be my first awakening, that kind of
Right.
stuff. Whereby I feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much medicine produced, so-called natural medicine produced in our body. When you start to move in alignment with, who you are, like I discovered, oh my gosh, I could move. I'm not that, like I'm not that robotic. I'm not that spastic, so to speak, for the lack of better, word for it.
Mhm.
So I think that was my own personal encounter. Around that time, I actually was doing a business with my ex-boyfriend, and I got burnt out. Around the same time, around my cancer episode, I got burnt out, and I decided to close the business. Was one of the biggest and hardest decision that I've made, to close the business at about age 27, 28. And then, around that age, right, I sort of see like there's a lot of emotions happening around that age, because most of my friends are already starting to, form their career, their shape. They're, slowly climbing up their career path. And for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, my business, I just failed, so to speak. I have to close the business. What I'm going to do next? So it was a tie between early childhood education and fitness.
Hmm.
And I sought, advice or opinions from my close friends. And without, like, in 60 seconds, they just go like, yeah, don't waste time debating on this. Just go for the fitness route. I was like, why? He said, no, Yan, because you clearly, you have your cancer episode, you have your, I don't know, to them, they just sort of like, they can see that spark in me whenever I talk about fitness or whenever I start exercising and stuff. Like there's this glow in me,
Mm.
and they find that I will make a really, really great trainer. So that's when I embarked on in the fitness industry as a, personal trainer at the age of nearly 30 years old.
Wow.
And then one thing lead to another. And as a woman, and fitness industry is still primarily, I mean, at the time, it was very primarily masculine,
Mm-hmm.
and very on the, what call it, very aesthetic focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to get your 6-pack or 8-pack and all that stuff. And it's still very masculine focused. So as a, young woman at that age, I mean, at that time, I was like, do I want to train like that? But, like So I hear the typical stuff, right? That we hear of most women, like, oh, I want to build muscles, but I don't want to look like that. I want to look like this, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just kind of funny because I was like, all these questions and all these observations that I get from around me just make me realize that there must be something deeper that, that I want to actually discover or uncover. So I used myself as an experiment. I did a bit of bodybuilding stuff. I did competition.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a story for another day. It's like huge story, like my own journey as well. Then I realized that all these things that we see on the cover of the magazines, whatever we see about the fitness industry, it's all a facade. There's so much more deeper into it. And I realized that we cannot train, and that's when I realized that we cannot train women the same as how we train males or men. And then one door lead to another, I start to understand or discover the concept about hormonal style of training, about women's hormones or women's life cycle or hormonal cycle. So that really then like I said, one door lead to another door, and next minute I found myself, wow, moving into the world of women's health, women's integrative health. Yeah, and it's not just like just losing weight and stuff like that. Like the women's body is just so fascinating to me because we go through cycles, we go through seasons. I say we go through seasons, and definitely women cannot train the way how males are typically trained. We're just genetically not designed that way.
No, but it makes sense that we are not, that our bodies are differently, and that, there needs to be different things given because, my gosh, granted what the women go through is just in general having, their cycle and also having children. Like it's a lot of things that the male body, we don't even know about. So I take my hat off to just women in general because there's a lot going on that the men can never understand. So I think that's great to hear you say that there was a new way to be looking at this. Training women would not be the same. So that makes complete sense. Where did you advertise to meet these women? How did they find out about you?
Well, it's really like word of mouth. And sometimes it's attaching myself to different companies. But right now I'm taking a back seat. I'm transiting my business to do, online or pretty much online. I want to open up my services or my energy or my aura to, to international clientele as well.
I love that. Yes. Get international. That's the way.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah.
There are people around the world who need you. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, definitely. Because I always believe that, like right now, like compared, like I've been in the industry on and off, personal as well as professional, since maybe like definitely at least 10 years. Geez, I can't count right now, but like definitely like all my life, right? So I would say, anywhere between 10 to 15 years. So I definitely have seen how the industry has evolved, right? Like in the past, it's very like you have to go to the gym to exercise. But now I just feel like, no, we don't have to go to the gym to exercise. We have to ditch that mindset. We have to break that mindset of we don't have to do this in order to exercise. Movement should be part of our lifestyle. This is the way how how our human body is being designed. So a lot of what I truly believe is that, I believe that we can, instead of going to one place to exercise or move, we bring movement into our daily life. We squeeze that into throughout our days. So that's why I wanted to, right now I want to, reinvent my business to do it more online because I don't need to be, I don't want to be traveling as well. I don't want people to be traveling to a gym just to come and, exercise. Because I, from what I've observed, 9 out of 8 or 9 out of 8 to 9 out of 10 women are actually very, very busy. So it's kind of like oxymoron if there's more to-dos on their list. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, instead, right, we carve out time. I'll give, like, for example, I'll share with you certain, we'll design your roadmap, we'll design your lifestyle, your own routine. And these are the kind of things I can, share with you. You can do it and kind of stuff. And then I'll go through the coaching process with them. So I feel that there's a lot more benefit and power to that than just like, for them to rush from one place to another place to another place.
No, it makes sense. I mean, ideally, and when we have to think about adding on something else, something is going to drop. We're not going to make it, or we're not going to
Exactly.
give 100% to it. So it's best to be able to try to consolidate that and put it into use the time wisely. So that traveling time, like you say, we could already be involved in the lesson or getting the teaching that we need.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but don't get me wrong. I think there's definitely benefits to actually showing up in a physical space because nothing beats being around, people as well. I think that's great. So from time to time, sure, I would say like, sure, if you see this is the season where you can have some time and, be in a gym or a space, by all means, go ahead, but where I'm coming at is that I'm taking them more on a longer haul, like taking charge of their own life, designing their own life, right? Be more awakened or be more conscious about how they, look around, how they design their own lifestyle plan, their own health plan, their own health resiliency plan as well. Yeah, so definitely.
I love that. Yes, yes. I wanted to ask you, what is the rest, digest, manifest state?
Oh, yes. So okay, first of all, have you heard of this term called rest and digest?
No, I haven't.
Okay, sure. So for some listeners who have not heard of this, rest and digest, if you are listening a lot to like health and wellness space, then this word is this rest and digest will probably be very well, like, how do I say, like it's been
Well understood.
used. Yeah, well understood. It's been used quite a bit. So rest and so basically, first of all, you have to understand that we're talking about the nervous system. So we have the overarching thing called the autonomous nervous system. And
Eponymous?
it's basically autonomous, like autonomous.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. To make it simple, it's just basically the nervous system. Okay. So the nervous system, the nervous system, right? It's what part of the job. I mean, there's so many functions of the nervous system.
True.
What the nervous system does is that in this aspect, it actually helps to regulate our body response, whether in terms of stress or not stress. So when you are stressed up, not stressed up, you have the good stress and the bad stress. So when stresses happen or when the body is under a certain kind of stress mode, then the one part of the nervous system called the sympathetic nervous system, or SNS for short, will be more stimulated. Why does it happen? It has to happen so that the SNS can try to clear, right, the stresses, the impact on the body from the stresses, so that it can bring the body back to homeostasis, back to like equilibrium. Okay, so the body is always in this seesaw mode, like, okay, I'm at this status quo. Oh, okay, there's some changes that's happening on the external environment that's therefore sending signals to my internal environment. All right, then let's kick mechanism A. Why? So that we can clear that and we can restore back to equilibrium. Okay, so that's one aspect of the nervous system. So in that sympathetic nervous system, it's the fight and the flight mode. So typically what happens, you can feel it, like sometimes when you are feeling like rush for time, or if you feel danger, right, you'll feel that the adrenaline pumping. So that's the response from the SNS, that part of the nervous system. Okay, because it's preparing the body to get ready for, whether is it fighting, flighting, freeze mode, that kind of stuff.
Whatever's going to come.
So that the body can survive. It's all about survival mode. Now, on the other spectrum of the nervous system is the parasympathetic nervous system, or PNS for short. So what it does is that the PNS is putting the body into the rest state, right? If the body is perpetually hyperstimulated, it needs to come back to a status quo. So that's when the PNS system gets upregulated or more activated, for the lack of a better term, so that the body can now enter into the rest state. And when the body enters into rest state, it's able to digest better. So that's what's happening on a daily basis. What the body is going through,
Wow.
like the SNS is stimulated so that the body is preparing to do what it needs to do. We have these benefits to adrenaline as well. And then, when it's time to wind down, then you get into the PNS state, you rest and you relax and you get ready to go to bed. So the body can start to do its repair work and digest work. So so a lot of things, just want to share a bit. So a lot of things that what we see in today's modern society world with all these diseases, right, is that the problem here comes is that when the body is under chronic means constant hyper-stimulated state. So much so that the body doesn't even, that is so much so that there was not even time or space for the body to rest. It's like a car, right? If you kick the car, if the car just keeps running, like the engine just keeps running, what's going to happen to the car after a while? It's just going to break down.
True.
Yeah, right? You never like turn on and give it a bit of rest. So that's exactly what's happening to, I would say, I don't have the exact statistics, but I would say a huge percentage of modern day diseases that we see, including cancer, is the result of just, persistent negative stresses accumulated in the body and not able to so-called clear it. Yeah. So this rest, digest, manifest state, it comes as an epiphany for me, one of those spiritual awakening. So I was like, oh wow, the wellness space, the health space, we're all talking about, all right, we need to do more stuff, or we need to get further into the rest, digest state. I say that's awesome because I feel it as well. Like you feel that calm, you feel that stuff like that. And I was more into, then I started dabbling into the whole law of attraction, the whole manifestation state. And then one day, in one of my own spiritual practice and one of my own energy healing practice, these words just came to me: rest. Yan, let's just get into the rest, digest, manifest state. And I read about me like, wow, yeah, like scientifically speaking, when the body enters deeper and deeper into the rest state, we get to digest better. And when we get further into this rest, digest state, we get to manifest whatever we have truly desire, whatever the heart really desire. And then when I had this words just pop up in my head, it brought me back to memories or those past experiences where, oh yeah, those moments where I manifested things really quickly. It was really when I was in the rest, digest state, or for another term, it's called the flow state. Yes. I'm sure flow state is probably more something that people understand more. So I was like, wow, rest, digest, manifest. So it became sort of like a little affirmation for me over the past few months. Like, let me enter into the rest, digest state. Let me slow down into the rest, digest, manifest state. And it I don't know how to explain to you, but you really feel, at least I feel like, why, okay, I'm more into that flow state. That's my true inner, feminine being. Like some moments where I feel that stress, that negative stress accumulating, and I don't like that feeling, then I'll do my breathing, and then this whole affirmation just comes into me. And then I actually had this visual in my head, like, I'm resting, I'm digesting, and, manifestation flow state. So that's really part of, like cultivating what I call the health resiliency, that the immunity in us as well. Our immunity is one of nature's best medicine for us. Like if your immunity is strong and robust, right? Even if you fall a little bit of a sick, like just a little bit of a sick, you will bounce back faster. And that's what our body is designed to do. Our body is not designed to be in a perpetual state of pain. Our body is not designed, or rather, we are not designed to be in a perpetual state of popping pills or going after scans. And I mean,
it's the easy way out. It's the easy way, but it's the addictive way, and it's the way that not meant for the body to be able to really stand. It does.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Granted, we're happy to have the medicine for today's times, but people feel this is the way to go, and so there's a lot of people popping pills. And then they get hooked on the pills, and there's more of the things that are coming with it. So in the end, it becomes more of a negative thing than a positive, depending.
And then it becomes a vicious cycle. It becomes very difficult for them to sort of get out of it. And that's the thing, right? Because a lot of the pharmaceutical drugs, when they designed it, they only look at only one thing. They only look at, I just want to suppress. They never really look at the side effects of it, or the long-term side effects of it. And, by the time they figure out the long-term side effects, it could, whoever has been popping that would already, have so much damage. I wouldn't say so late, but it's more like there's so much damage done that, to undo the damage becomes even, tougher. It
takes more time.
It takes a while. Yeah, exactly. It takes more time. So, but like I said, don't get me wrong with modern healthcare. Don't get me wrong with all the so-called pharmaceutical drugs out there. I'm pretty sure there are some merits to it, but we just have to be more aware and discern what we are popping in. Like for whatever reason, if I know that, okay, if I happen to want to take, let's say, Panadol, I rarely take Panadols, man. If I do take a Panadol, I would then, like, I won't overdo it as well. I'll probably take one, like if let's say, according to the label on the box, it says, take two, I'll probably just take half or one, because I know that I don't always take it. So I know my body is super sensitive to it. So I don't take a lot of it. But if I do take it, like I said, I rarely take it as well, because I do a lot of energy healing. So I use a lot of my own stuff. But
no, that's using wisdom. That's using wisdom to feel like if it's not something you're taking, that you should just take less, or,
Yeah. Yeah, but it took me a long time to get to where I'm at and not like just pop Panadols and whatever drugs. Yeah, it took me a long time. So I just want to be like 100% honest with listeners out there. Like, look, I'm not looking for perfectionists. I'm not looking for Nirvana state or whatever it is. I'm a human being. I always say I'm a human being. I fall sick too, but yes, with this wisdom, I practice what I preach. I walk the talk as well. Yeah. So like I was saying, if I do pop, over the counter stuff, I'll take less dosage, and I'll be very mindful to also clear it, as in like do like certain detox after I fully recovered as well.
Oh, that's good.
Sometimes I look at it this way. I look at those like over the counter top as like a start, like a jump start. To help me it depends on how I can take the symptoms of whatever that I'm going through. Yeah, I really remember taking, like I rarely take antibiotics. Maybe the last time I took was for my teeth, because I had to pull out a wisdom tooth, and it's like, you better take antibiotics.
Oh, okay.
I was already
that's something
different,
especially.
Yeah, but I was already cringing about it, because like, antibiotics and my gut. I was like, okay. Yeah.
Let me ask you, what are 3 important lessons you have learned from this life-changing event as a surviving cancer?
3 important lessons. It could also be my secrets, man. I think 3 things. 1, healing begins from our heart. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, the power of words. Number 3, there's really a very powerful healing medicine in us. 3 important lessons, 3 important discoveries that I have learned in my last 15 years since surviving cancer.
What was the last one, Yan?
There is truly a powerful healer within us, a healing medicine within us.
Oh, healing medicine within us. Okay.
Yes, that's really this is a term that I actually coined from. I didn't originate it, but this is a term or a concept that's coined by this Oriental medical doctor in the States, Dr. Roger Yanker. Yeah, he teaches Qigong as well. I'm actually currently learning medical Qigong from him. And he was sharing about, he's this really we truly have a very profound healer within us. Really, really, really. Yeah. And I case in point, I definitely feel it as well. Even before I actually learned Qigong, medical Qigong from him, I definitely have moments where I feel like, there is that, especially for women, right? We are more intuitive. I'm not saying men are not intuitive. I mean, I can't tell for men because I'm not a man. I often feel that women's intuition is so strong, like way stronger than the male body. Like it's just us, right? Especially if you start to encounter mothers, especially mothers who are with lots of kids, or pregnant women as well. The intuition is just very strong. And it's something that we can't quantify it. We don't have to quantify it. We just have to, observe and just observe and just accept it. Like that's the intuition. Yeah. So we have a very strong intuitive power within us. And that really tells us that third important lesson or secret for me that I learned is that our body truly have a very remarkable healing medicine in us.
I love that. And the power of words as well. We do have the power of words. And sometimes we imprison our own selves by what we speak out of our own mouths.
Exactly.
And I always tell people, be careful what we say.
Yes, the words have impact on our thoughts have impact on, therefore, what's happening with, in terms of epigenetics, for those who are exposed to the concept or the theory about epigenetics, which is actually coined or discovered by a biologist, a cell biologist. So right? Yeah, the power of words.
And the
And
first
first
one
one was
was, what was the first point?
healing begins from our heart.
Healing begins from our heart. Healing
Yeah,
begins.
all our healing, if you truly, truly are ready to heal, start from the heart. What I mean by heart, whether is it forgiveness on the emotional aspect, whether is it forgiveness, whether is it love, acceptance, even for ourselves, right? Our own hearts, even for others, right? And then, and then there's even more and more research talking about the power of our heart. I don't know if you've heard of this institute called the Heart Math Institute.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what it does is they've done all kinds of extensive research, all right, talking about the science of heart, the energy of heart. And then from there, they have all kinds of different techniques. They call it the heart, they trademark it, the heart math techniques, and it's going into, different schools and corporates and stuff like that. They want to, share all these techniques. And I can tell you, Chris, all these techniques is no rocket science. It's to me, sometimes I want to laugh. Like, we don't need more research about it. It's back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
Back to basics. No rush. Get in the rest digest mode. Breathe. Close your eyes. Feel your heart. Everything comes from the heart. The heart is so powerful. The heart can beat on its own, even if your brain is dead, right?
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that. I didn't. Now that you said it, I was like, I think I have heard this somewhere before.
Yeah, even when you watch shows, like people in coma, how is it that they're still alive? Let's just say they're not on life support machine, right? They can be in coma, but their heart is still beating. So usually when you watch shows, that's when the dilemma comes. Oh my gosh, technically he's still alive, right? But the brain is dead. Do you end his life or do you not end? Yeah, the whole moral debate.
Yes.
The point is that you see the heart can actually beat on its own. So it's very powerful.
That is
so
powerful.
Heart is really powerful.
Wow.
Yes.
What is one thing that you can share with listeners that they can do in the next 7 days to cultivate their health resilience today?
Right. So one of the things definitely, listeners out there right now, this is what I'm feeling you can do right now, is to come to slow down whatever that you're feeling right now. If you ever feel stressed, whatever it is, just slow down, take a couple of deep breaths, breathing. Don't complicate the breathing. Don't figure out like, oh, should I breathe this way? Should I inhale, exhale? Whatever is normal. Don't have to complicate it. Just breathe, inhale, and fully exhale. In fact, the longer you exhale, the better it is. Because once you exhale, the body natural mechanism is you have to inhale. It's very hard. You can actually inhale and hold, but you can't exhale to hold.
That's true.
Long. It's very hard to exhale and hold long. The body just doesn't, it's not designed that way. But I discovered that once you start exhaling, right, the next inhale becomes a lot slower. You can actually try it right now.
Okay.
You find yourself, maybe in 3 to 4 times, you actually feel that state of, I call it that rest digest state. Yeah, just fully exhale. Doesn't matter how you want to exhale, through the nose or through the mouth. And then when you can't exhale anymore, taking the next breath. And then exhale fully again.
Wow, you're right.
Close your eyes. Yeah, well, you can close your eyes as well. And you can, depends if you're a visual person, you can think about an image that brings calmness. If you're a sound person, play something. If you're a word person, you can think about an affirmation. Like I said, you can say, I'm slowing down to a rest, digest, manifest it as you're breathing. Yeah. And how do you feel?
Just very relaxed. Like in that 1 second, it completely pulled down just any tension. I mean, I'm relaxed already, but I really felt a sense of calm.
Yeah.
And the breathing did become just very slowly, but really taking in the air that I was taking in and really letting out all the air.
Yeah.
About
and
it.
not only that, if you're really sensitive to, if you've been cultivating energy sort of like practices, I won't say energy, just like breathing practices, that kind of stuff, right? You may actually feel some tingles as well. So that is, by the way, that is also a testament of the body producing that healthy immune response.
Did you say tingles?
Yeah, some tingles.
Wow.
And some energy. Yeah, you might feel it as well. Like for me, because I've been practicing, even when I was doing that, I actually feel the tingles right now.
Where are the tingles feeling in the chest?
Me, right now it's mostly on around my arms. A bit on the chest for me, but more on the arms.
Okay.
I'm a work in progress in this, so yeah, as I'm continue cultivating these practices.
I
Yeah,
love
so
that.
it's very simple, right? But that's the thing. So that's one thing that I'm learning from the medical qigong community and the masters. They're like, it's funny because sometimes something so simple can be so profound and so rewarding for us.
And
So
right, we can
simple.
all do it easily. We don't have to go
And it's
anywhere.
free.
And it's free.
And it's free. It's accessible. All you need to do is to just, inhale over the next 7 days, right? Find pockets of time. Don't have to overcomplicate. There's no need to be like, oh my gosh, it's my to-do list. There's no such thing as to-do list. You are breathing right now, right? I always say we come to this world taking our first breath. We leave the world taking our last breath. We are always going to
So
be
true.
breathing from the first to the last. So yeah, for the next 7 days, just try this moment.
Okay.
1 minute, 1 second. Cultivate that little practice and that's the funniest thing because your body knows you like it, you enjoy it, and then you realize you start after a while you start to realize, hey, on that day I only did like 1 minute, and now I'm actually intentionally doing it like 5 times throughout the day, which is about 5 minutes, and then who knows, after a while you start to intentionally set aside
Time to do it.
yeah, to do it without, and that's what I mean. It's an effortless flow, because our body, right? Our body wants to be always in a good, healthy state.
So true.
I truly, truly believe that
Me
no
too.
one wants to be in a pain and, in an addictive state. I don't think anyone wants it.
Right. I don't think so
anyone wants
either.
it.
No,
Yeah,
I think you're right.
So. I don't think so. Especially once they discovered the high, right? Okay, so why do we want to get into the high state through, drugs and alcohol? It's because they enjoy the high state, although that's a fake high state. But the concept here is that, can you see that, human beings, we do want to feel good. We always want to feel good. It's just our natural being. So, yeah. So I like to use, next 7 days, use this breathing, get into the rest, digest, manifest state. It's effortless.
I love that. I love it. Can I ask you, what is the purpose of your soul?
Wow. I love this question. It's so deep.
It is deep. It is deep, right?
Yeah, I love
Take
it.
a moment.
I love it. I love it. I really love it because I rarely have conversations like that in Singapore with people. So I love it. What's the purpose?
Okay.
Yeah, what's the purpose of my soul? The purpose of my soul is to live authentically in alignment with my soul purpose. I'm called to bring healing to people through movement, through words, through basically what I'm doing. It's a deep question. It's a deep question. I ask myself from time to time, what's the purpose of my soul? It's to just be me, man. To just be me. Just be me authentically, my life story, my experiences, and the choices that we make matters. Right? Just be me. I call myself, just be me, authentic, cultivating health, resiliency. And there's really a healing power within us. Whatever you want love, right? It's out there. It's out there. It's a journey. Yeah. That's my sole purpose.
I love
to
that.
be myself and to impact others.
So great. So great. Yes. Nice. And very simple answer, right? I think when people think of some type of answer, they're like, oh, maybe it should be so complex. But I don't think that it is either. It's just there, as simple as what you've said. So
Just
good.
be myself, man. I think we are all
authentically
I think
yourself,
we're all living. Yeah, I think exactly. I think we're all living with mask on. Seriously, I'm just.
Well, we're
really
born
like
in with the mask on, so it's or we're given the mask at a young age from all societies. So it's true, and just learning how to peel that off, and not just to be who you authentically are, and speak from your heart, and care from your heart. Then it's a real true value, but. It takes a long time for some people. And, that's everybody doing their own work, and that comes on a personal basis. But, when people start to do the work, they get to understand, or they ask themselves these questions. And then once you start asking, that's it. Like, there goes the rabbit hole. And, you start digging in and finding out answers and realize, wow, what's this? And so there comes the spiritual awakening,
Yeah. Yeah, multiple times for me. Yeah. So
Yes, for
like I
all of
said,
us. For all of
yeah, my
us.
sole purpose is just be myself, be in the present moment always, and live more. Want to still more. I call it stilling. STILL. Previously, I said slow down, but that moment is that moment that how do I say that divine moment for
It's
me
just being
would be
still.
being still. Once I'm being still, I don't know how to explain to you, Chris. When you have that moment of being still,
Hmm.
you just all of a sudden you just feel like you're living outside time, and time is an
Yes.
illusion. Because there's no past, there's no present. It's just that one moment, and all of a
Just
sudden,
there.
kaboom! Wow,
Just be.
and you'll be like, oh my gosh, everyone is just rushing and living in fear. And I had my and I just laughed to myself. Humans, humans, we're always creating problems for ourselves.
It's true. It is so true. It is true. And I think there's so much noise that is going on around us and in social media and in all kinds of things on that are taking our attention that we don't have the time to just be still. And I think in the quiet, when we are able to
Mm,
be still, that rest state that you talked about is when we can
mm,
really receive the word and listen and to be able to
mm,
actually hear it because we're not
mm,
so
mm.
busy with all the noise that is being put around. So ideally,
Exactly.
it's a huge point. It's a huge point, just being
Yeah.
still to be able to
Yeah, so
receive.
exactly. Yeah, so part of my sole purpose is to not contribute to that noise in inverted commas, but to, add more good noise or useful noise. Like speak when you're supposed to speak, create content on social media that it's more like, yeah, it's like clearing the empty noises, like empty voice and all those empty vessels put aside. I want to. I use social media as well, but I just want to be very intentional with what I put out there, as well, for sure.
And that's
Yeah.
important, being intentional about what you put out there. I agree that,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
can be used for all kinds of purposes. So we have to know what is our intent about the things we are going to put out there for people to receive it. So
Yeah.
that is huge.
Exactly. Yeah, like even this podcast, right? It's in a way a form of social media as well. So
Yes.
we just have to be very intentional with what we say and how we actually share with our listeners as well. Like I intentionally reach out to you as well to be on your show. Like I don't just go to any show as well. No point. So it's just
Well,
yeah.
we're happy that you have chosen to be on our show. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I love it, love it.
I love
You
that.
have a, you have a very yeah you have a all your guests on the show is just amazing. So I enjoy listening to your podcast as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you. It's just nice to have people on to just share their awakenings and their life experiences. I've learned so much with every guest that's been on, and it was something I never thought about when I was, thinking of doing this. So it's been a special extra treat for me as the host that I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting a chance to receive something as well from each person. So it's so awesome.
Mm,
It's so awesome.
you're feeling the energy, you're taking in as well.
Yes, it's a blessing.
Good energy, yes, for sure.
Can I ask you, who has been the most influential person in your life?
Wow, most influential. Wow, I need some time to think about it because
I mean, there could be more
most
than one. It could be a family member or a colleague or a teacher, professor. Um,
right, most influential. I really don't have a most, simply because I just feel like I don't want to have a particular. I don't want to put somebody on a pedestal, if that makes sense.
mhm.
And I also believe that life goes through different stages, and different people come to your life for different reasons,
Yes,
and for different at different seasons. So
yes.
there's no most to me, but I would say that iconic people, or rather people that have heavy influence of me, is definitely my mom, my family members,
Oh,
particularly my
nice.
my mother, and then yeah, the clients that I served over the years as well. Pretty much that, and just I would just say human beings. I,
Hmm.
I I just grew up. I have this natural knack of just observing human nature, human behavior, human interactions, human relationships, how people communicate, why people choose this path and that path, or why people, behave the way they behave or eat the way they behave, that kind of stuff. Why people
Mm-hmm.
crave for this. So I would say in general, humility as well have a heavy influence on me. And there are also some books that also have heavy influence on me, and some past friends or old friends
Nice.
that I'm no longer in touch with have also, influenced heavily on who I am or shaped who I am today, as well as one ex-colleague as well. Actually, two ex-colleagues.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I would say super influential, but definitely iconic. They're all very pivotal for me in my own personal journey as well.
I love that. A variety throughout the time, of making it an influence on your life. So great.
Right.
So great.
Yeah. Everybody that you meet is always teaching you a lesson. Sorry, there's this saying, every person you meet is either a blessing or a lesson. A blessing would be if the person stays in your life forever, right? It's a lesson if, for some whatever reason, the connection just got cut off. So you got to learn. So your soul get to learn what it needs to learn.
Yes.
At that moment of your life.
No, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
We have to make sure that, and sometimes we get the seasonal friends or seasonal relationships mixed up with the lifetime expectations. And that's where the problem comes in, that some people aren't supposed to be there for that lifetime, and we miss the seasonal cutoff, and now we've dragged them over. So knowing when when things are and how they're supposed to be is key. And I think that in that quiet is when you're able to understand that.
Yeah.
The understanding.
It goes back to the relationship with ourselves anyway. It's when it comes to human dynamics, it's a tricky. I find that it's a fine balance. It's not an easy line to balance, because every time you interact with somebody, especially with time, there is that bond, the connection is being built, right? So it's tricky. It's tricky. Sometimes you feel like you want to be sort of depend on them in a way, but then you don't want to depend on them it's a fine line. It's a fine line, and that's when I realized that I personally learned, and I'm still learning.
Yes, me too.
About practicing boundaries, and it comes back to communication as well. It's not easy. But that's only. But to me, I feel that that's the only way, or rather, that's the best way for our soul to grow. If you're a person who believes in personal development, if you're a person who wants to do a lot of soul growth, one of the best way is to actually have relationships with people. It's very difficult to do soul growth on like being one person.
True.
You get what I mean? Yeah, because the true test comes is when you start mingling into the world. I always say, oh my gosh, how can I be in the world but not of the world? I'm being tested in all ways, man. And then because you know so much more, whether you're more awakened, and then you start to feel guilty, and then you start to self-critic yourself, like you're not supposed to feel this way, you're supposed to be more magnanimous, but I'm like, I'm a human being. All right, God, give up. I give up. I don't have any more awakening right now. I don't want any more awakening.
I know what you say. Just stop.
And God be like, no, you already chose this
funny.
path. I'm going to give you more. I was like, okay, I give up.
I love that. Yes, you're right, though. You're right. Definitely. Can I ask you, what color would describe you at this point in your life, and why?
Ooh, okay.
Describes you or represents you.
I like that color of, I don't know what's that color called. Kind of like that hue of gold, yellowish, not super yellow, but that golden. Yeah, that gold, but not super gold. I don't know what's the exact term for it.
Like a yellowish gold. That type of
color. But not too yellow, but there's kind of like that sheen to it, Yeah, actually, that's kind of like the current color that I'm going for right now on my website and on my social media as well. Yeah, I'm still playing around with the colors. I would say it's leaning more towards that.
Why that color?
That orangey, not orange as well. That orangey yellow, not too yellow, it's a bit golden orange. Yeah, I think it's
like
more
the sun color.
Yeah, pretty much that, I would say. But more like, I can't really explain it, but that more that hue, that color. Why that color? I don't know, it just makes you happy.
Does it
Just
feel, I
makes
was
me
about to say,
happy.
does it give you a sense of joy? Do you feel a sense of
Yeah, it
enlightenment?
does.
Do you wear that color
And
as well?
no, that's the thing. I don't wear that color.
Okay.
Actually, most of my colors are very monotone.
Mm.
Like yeah, it could be like a gray or black. Actually, I like white as well.
Okay.
White can be very difficult to to get sturdy. Browns. I also like browns. I actually kind of like earthy colors as well.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends. It depends on my. It really depends on my mood. Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
I
they
think
can
I
change.
kind of like that. Yeah, I kind of like that goldy yellow color because it gives that feeling of yeah, that light. You know, that vitality, right?
Yes.
A bit of the joy as well.
It's
And
true that it
this,
is a happy
yeah,
color. It is a joyous energy color as
right,
well
right.
that you said.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that. Yes.
That yellowy, orangey thing. It's I don't know. It's just drawn. I'm feeling drawn to it right now.
Mm.
Maybe it will change. So who knows?
Yeah, you know, and with life, things change. But yeah, just at this point, thank you so much for that. That was awesome.
No problem. Mm-hmm.
I like to close with asking all of my guests this final question. Is your glass half empty or half full?
Definitely half full. Yeah, definitely half full. And I think the glass will get bigger and bigger so that I can, keep filling it up,
I
keep filling it
love
up
that.
until it overflows. And I love it if it overflows. Or let it overflow to,
Yes.
the people that the universe brings them to me. Yeah, let my cup be so full, and that just share all the abundance, all the joy, all the love, all the health and vitality, everything.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So great. Do you have any final thoughts for our listeners?
Yeah, I think that's about it. Remember, just keep breathing. Take moments to do your breathing, especially on the exhale. Don't overthink it. Just get into it. Have a bit of either an affirmations if you're a word person. Remember the rest, digest, manifest. If you're an audio person, play something nice and quiet. If you're a scent person, have some essential oil. If it's a visual, just visualize something that brings you, smile as well as you do this breathing. And, if you'd like to connect with me on my Instagram or YouTube.
Yes, please tell us how they can reach you.
Yeah, so listeners can reach out to me at therealyanhuang on Instagram or on YouTube. I'm actually going to launch or start a show. I call it my Wellness with Yan show, where I'll just, share all my little health resiliency practices as well.
Nice.
I primarily targeted at cancer survivors, female cancer survivors, but I truly also believe that even if you're not having cancer, right? I'm sure there's lots of benefits to it because prevention is always better than cure.
Yes.
Prevention is always better than cure. And some parts of it would also, definitely be working. Would also work very well for the moons as well. So Instagram at the Real Yan Huang. I'm actually also going to launch a group program in about later half of the year. So I'm on a wait list. I'm collecting emails. Join my wait list as well. All these links will be in the show notes.
Yes.
So this program, I call it Resilience for Cancer Survivors. So I'm going to design this program primarily for long-term cancer survivors like myself. I've been cancer-free for the last 15 years.
Yes.
There's always,
so great. Congratulations.
long-term side effects. Thank you. Yeah, There's always this long-term side effects from cancer episode itself. So that's part of it. Yep.
Yes, and all this information will be down there, and that is The Real, THEREAL, Yan, YAN, Huang, HUANG, and all of that will be in the information for this episode as well. For that, thank you so much, Yan, for taking some time out to be a guest here. We really appreciate you sharing some amazing points. I love that rest, digest, manifest. That if we can just be still, if we can just take a moment to breathe, that we can reset ourselves. And in this state, we are able to receive some healing and just kind of bring ourselves back to one. And I love that. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris, for having me on the show. I really, totally enjoyed this spending this afternoon with you.
Oh, thank you so much. The pleasure has been all mine. You have a great afternoon, and we'll be in touch real soon.
Yep.
Thank you for today.
Welcome.
See you. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
And thank you to all our listeners listening in to another episode of Glass Half Full, a podcast and a safe platform for everyone to share their life experiences. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Levens. Please subscribe, follow, and rate this podcast on Apple Music and Spotify for more learning experiences. Until next time, know you are blessed. See ya!